Hello, this is Darrell Castle with today's podcast. Today is Wednesday, September 4th, 2013. And today we return our discussion to the land of Syria and to the capital of Syria, Damascus, perhaps the oldest continuously occupied city in the world, the destination of the Apostle Paul in approximately 35 AD when Paul saw the great light. In the meantime, the President of the United States arrives today in Sweden, where he will spend 3 days discussing affairs with the Swedish government before he journeys on to St. Petersburg, Russia for the G20 summit. Wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall, folks, at that summit to see and hear the discussions between Mr. Obama, Mr. Putin, and the others in the G20 concerning the Ed Snowden affair, Syria, and so forth? What is going on in this world with regard to Syria? Well, the president says that he has decided to allow Congress to consider his decision. That is awfully nice of him, considering the Constitution leaves it clearly in the hands of Congress. Nevertheless, the president says he doesn't have to do that. He's just being nice, but at least he's decided to be nice this time and let Congress ponder his decision for a while. He wants them to consider something that has already been decided. You see, Republican leadership, Mr. Boehner, Mr. McCain, who never met a war he didn't absolutely love, and his toady, Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, have already said, we support the president. Mr. McCain went so far as to say it would be a catastrophe if we did not attack Syria. Catastrophe. Well, the British Parliament voted no on this attack, and they haven't suffered any catastrophe, at least to this point. So what is this really all about? What is the real story here? Well, there is one possibility that we can eliminate from our consideration, and that is the humanitarian intervention possibility. Why? Because that's the reason the government gives us for what it is doing, so it can't possibly be the actual truthful reason. Obama seems very nervous about all of this. He delays, he ponders. He tells the Syrians exactly what he's going to do, to expect only a limited strike at command and control centers and so forth, thus allowing them to prepare defenses and so forth. Should a commander telegraph his attack in such a manner? Should he not just limit the information that he gives out, keeping the enemy off guard, guessing, fighting with himself, and so forth? That makes sense, doesn't it? Still, Congress says they're going to consider this, but only on a limited basis. 60-day window, they say. That is the consideration, a 60-day window with no boots on the ground, but this is the camel's nose under the tent, or words to that effect, isn't it? Once authorized, the president has political cover from Congress, and cover from us, the American people, because then his decision cannot later be criticized. You see, when he involves Congress, the people's representatives, he also involves the people. In other words, if Congress green lights this deal, we, the people, become complicit in his crimes. Why? Why do this in the first place? Saddam Hussein killed 5,000 of his own people, the Kurds, with poison gas, and President Reagan ignored that and allowed the war between Iraq and Iran to continue. We can only speculate about the geopolitical maneuverings with Russia and Iran for control of that portion of the Middle East, its oil and gas resources and so forth. The stocks of the great defense companies like Raytheon, General Dynamics, Lockheed Martin are all soaring now. Could it be that no one speaks peace? No one speaks prosperity for the American people or the Syrian people, but instead they seek only their own power, their own wealth, their own position in the world. This Novus Ordo Seclorum, the new order of the ages, must be satisfied at all costs. This monster must be fed. At least that's the way I see it, folks. September 4th, 2013. Until next time, this is Darrell Castle. Thanks for listening.